there seems to be this shift in Drake Maye versus Caleb Williams for many teams. I know you obviously study this at the highest possible level. What do you see in the two quarterbacks? Like, what's your preference?
Yeah. Maye has been my QB1 since May. And I wasn't even trying to make a joke there, but actually, yeah, that works. When I first sat down and studied these guys, draft ends, I give myself my brain a week. And then I'm like, okay, I'm aware of these guys because I'm watching other players that they play at USC and North Carolina respectively, and just being a college football fan. And as soon as I sat down, it's like Maye is the prototype to me. He's size, athleticism. He's the best scrambler, literally, in college football right now at FBS level. He scrambles at the highest rate of first downs. He creates, which is all the things you do, but having said all that, he operates from the pocket and he pushes the ball. We were just talking about guys like Howell, Geno Smith, even Ritter. These guys, why I like them and why I'll default to that is they go for the doubles and triples and home runs and don't just take the singles. And that's what you want. You want to have that little bit of, a lot of it of that aggression and hone it back down and go, okay, sometimes take the easy ones. Jordan Love, another one. That's why I really like him. Maye has that right now. And he pushes. He's always pushing. I call him javelins, just pushing 20 yards, 25 yards over the middle. And he can throw it with touch and everything. So to me, he checks all the boxes. When your biggest negative is that you're too aggressive, yeah, I'm all on board on that. Like, that is exactly what I want to hear. I don't want the check down artist every snap. So to me, he's 1-1. And having said all that, Caleb is an outstanding prospect in his own right. I have him as more just a first round grade, but still that's very high for me, like a top 15 pick, easy, half ground inflation. That's how quarterbacks go. I think with Caleb, he's had a rough go probably in the last 6 weeks. And I think some of that is because of what the offense is asking him to do. And that's not his fault. I think some of it is letting him go to his worst habits, which is holding onto the ball, getting into creation mode. But there have been comparisons to like him and maybe Justin Fields or him like Kyler. And he's his own type of guy. He is the quick passing is very real. I compare him to a dart thrower where he can just boom, boom, like that ball just comes out from elbow to wrist. And that's a plus. He can throw from the pocket. He can push the ball, do all those things that I love. Again, his biggest thing is to learn to operate on time, but I think he'll be able to do that because he's just not asked to do that right now. You know what I mean? It's not like it's like where he's asked to do it 50 times and he doesn't do it once. It's more like that was like Zach Wilson's issue. It was that, he drops back and then he's bouncing. Caleb's stuff's all on the move and all that. So it's not really asked in that offense. So he still, to me, is a very high grade because of the creation that's excellent. His contact bounce is rare, bounce off tacklers and everything. I think all of that, he will have a little bit more of a growing pains. Both of these guys will because they are aggressive, but I still have a high grade on him. I just prefer Maye because of what he's done this year.
What's interesting to me is that quarterbacks is often, as a position by the NFL, scouted for multiple years at a time. And so what we end up with in this year's draft, to me, is two quarterbacks that everybody's infatuated with. And that's why I keep saying I'm not sure there's going to be any amount of trade value that will actually move teams up. But I will say this, if somebody does end up moving up, if we end up in a situation where the second overall pick belongs to Arizona and they want to stick with Kyler Murray, if that's what's real, I think it's going to take historic trade value to move up because these two guys feel so much more can't miss than we've seen in the last couple of years, and then we project seeing in the next couple of years. So it feels like if you want the first or second pick, you're going to end up giving up historic trade value to get there, if you can even get there with that.
Like other quarterbacks have gone 1-2 or high in the draft, and it's all just about grading as prospects, and prospects are bets, and you got to look at it starter, bench, bust. I stole that from a basketball website. Shout out to Canis Hoopus. It's a Timberwolves blog, but from years ago. So, but what I think what Maye and Caleb have is such a higher star threshold. And why I love Maye too is I think his starter threshold, where he's kind of like that Goff tier, middle tier starter, above average starter, is super high as well. I think Caleb has that star tier. And when you're drafting guys at 1-1 and 1-2, that's what you're drafting. I can find these other guys. We just talked about the Ritters of the world, the Jacoby Brissetts of this world. I can find those guys. It's not great, but I can find tolerable starters. But a true difference maker, that's what these two guys are. I'm trying to think. RG3 and Luck was maybe the last one, whereas 1-2, Mariota and Winston were good prospects, but they weren't to this level as these guys right now. That's what's really cool. The drop off to 3 is interesting, though. Jane Daniels is making a big case for QB3 right now, and I think it's becoming a consensus because he's put out some good tape right now.
He feels like if there ever felt like there's a guy that's just going to slam up to once we get to the combine and everything, it's like then we're going to hear athleticism over and over and over again. And rightfully so.
Yeah.
He's earned every ounce.
Another
of that,
guy, like you said, it's a multi-year thing. All he's done is gotten better, and that's what you want. It's like what. It's against kind of sports ethos, I think, to go like, well, it doesn't matter because he was bad at first. It's like, no, they've gotten better. That's what you're grading. Yes, it's like, yes, he's a fifth-year senior, but it's like, but he's dominating. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see like a pretty good. No, oh, that's good. 30 touchdowns. Yeah, that's good. No, you want to see a guy that's like, no, I'm the freaking Heisman winner, or I'm up there for the Heisman. That's what you want to see.